An RT crew has filmed disturbing evidence of crimes the Turkish military is alleged to have committed against the Kurdish population. RT was the first media organization given access to the mainly Kurdish city of Džizra in Turkey, which has been subjected to curfews and blockades for several months. Now, local Kurds claim to us that the Turkish military burned alive more than 100 people trapped in basements during Turkey's operation against the Kurdish Workers' Party. RT's William Whiteman spoke to eyewitnesses and filmed the grim aftermath of the crackdown on the city.
We have been seeing shocking reports of the Turkish government's crackdown against Kurds in the country's southeast. The town of Džizra is where the Turkish military launched an offensive last September. During an 8-day lockdown, food and water supplies were shut off. Injured residents were denied medical treatment. And the most harrowing claim of all, last month it emerged that Turkish soldiers had surrounded a burning apartment block, trapping the residents inside. Up to 150 people are said to have perished in the blaze. With many of the reports coming out of Džizra relying on unconfirmed information, we decided to check out the situation on the ground for ourselves. It wasn't easy, but after days of waiting, we eventually managed to enter Džizra. What we discovered there was chilling.
This looks like Aleppo, it looks like Syria here, but we're in Turkey. It's mad to think this is happening.
We soon came upon the site of the alleged massacre.
This is reportedly the building where between 100 and 150 people reportedly burned to death. They were in the basement of this building. When it caught fire, they'd been taking shelter there. We'll go and try and have a closer look inside the building.
A local woman who saw that we were filming told us to follow her.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Erdogan has destroyed our world. He has burned us. Come here and look at the blood.
There's blood all over these blankets. Look at this. There's blood everywhere. She proceeded to show us destroyed home after destroyed home. In many of them, the bloody bedding of the wounded still remained.
What happened here? What happened here?
This was a residential building. Women and children lived here. Erdogan killed all of them with heavy artillery. He destroyed this home. They claim they're fighting terrorists, but where are the terrorists? All of the victims were civilians. 3, 4, maybe 500 people were killed. There were old people, women and children as young as 10 years old. They killed a heavily pregnant woman.
Evidence of the extreme, heavy-handed nature of the fighting was visible not only in the smashed buildings, but in the remains of weapons ordnance that lay almost everywhere.
More shell casings here.
Though the corpses have been removed, the stench of death still clung to Džizra. We suspected a number of yet unrecovered bodies remained buried beneath the fallen debris.
It smells very strongly around here. It's quite clear that something is trapped under the rubble. Someone's dead under the rubble.
Downstairs, we made another disturbing discovery. A second apparent site where Kurds had been burnt to death en masse.
45 to 50 people were killed. They burned all of them. When we entered this basement, we found decapitated bodies.
Did you say they were beheaded?
Yes, their heads were cut off. I went to the autopsies too. I know. They burned them and beheaded them.
So they were reported, we just spoke to these guys up here who helped recover the bodies from down in here. They were reportedly 45 people burned to death in this basement, and it really does smell very strongly down here.
Apparently, as well as a shelter from the onslaught taking place above ground, this cellar was also used as a makeshift hospital to treat the wounded. Charred medicine bottles and surgical scissors appeared to back up this claim. Suddenly, locals told us to follow them. They had discovered an unexploded projectile from a grenade launcher just down the road. Even without the shocking accounts of local residents, the extreme levels of brutality and destruction during the Džizra lockdown are undeniable. With curfews underway across the region, the total civilian cost in Turkey's renewed war against Kurdish separatism remains to be seen. But if Džizra is anything to go by, this figure could be staggering. From Džizra, William Whiteman, RT.
We've contacted multiple human rights groups, including Human Rights Watch, Doctors Without Borders, the Red Cross and Amnesty International, to get their reaction on our report. We'll keep you updated on that. In the meantime, Turkey insists all those killed in the crackdown were terrorists.
The fight against the separatist terror organization will continue until the end without hesitation.
Now we talk to analysts to get their opinion about the crackdown on the Kurds by Ankara. One went as far as to call it genocide, the other a war crime.
What the government of Turkey has done in Džizra is a war crime. They have attacked civilians who have not taken part in the fighting. In a country that is aspiring to join the European Union, in a country that calls itself a member of NATO, you don't target the whole town. You know, you have to make a distinction according to the laws of war.
The objective of the Erdogan government is to completely have a genocidal campaign against the Kurds, because that's what's now occurring. This is now genocide. Of course, the Turkish government has denied that there's any major military operation underway there, but clearly there has been, using fairly heavy ground weapons and possibly even air weapons.
Now, Turkey's military operation against the Kurds has lasted for months now. International human rights watchdogs have accused Ankara of using excessive force, even in residential neighborhoods. Now, at the start of the year, more than 1,000 leading academics from around the world signed a petition demanding that Turkey stops its military operation against the Kurds. However, it's come to light that Ankara has now launched an investigation into more than half of them for inciting people to hatred and violence. Now, following the arrests of some of the academics who signed the peace petition, the internationally renowned author Noam Chomsky blamed President Erdogan for the crisis in the country.
It's a call for people to lay down their arms, sit down and talk reasonably to each other, which is precisely the role that intellectuals should have, to encourage people to be thoughtful and nonviolent. It seems like what Erdogan is pursuing is a form of presidential rule in which he would be a de facto dictator. Now he's going after the academics. There seems to be a massive purge of moderate academics throughout Turkey going on right now.
Yeah, we are closely following this developing story here on RT International. As promised, we'll bring you any response from international human rights groups and Turkey's reaction as soon as we get them.